This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at Ease, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. Put the power of Ease to work for you by opening up ease.com to see if your Golden State neck of the woods is allowing for marijuana delivery. Ease has California's different assorted laws on marijuana delivery baked right into their system, so you know you're always going to be in compliance with state law when you place an order through ease.com. Whether you need medical marijuana or adult use, ease.com will let you know what the options are for where you live. And since they only partner up with top dispensaries in their active areas, you also know you're going to get quality product at great prices. Open up ease.com to start your cannabis delivery journey today. That's ease.com, spelled E-A-Z-E. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Thursday, January 18th, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 412 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day is the big news out of our nation's capital of the introduction of a piece of legislation within the U.S. House of Representatives to dismantle entirely the federal prohibition of marijuana. California Representatives Barbara Lee and Ro Khanna, both Democrats, just introduced the Marijuana Justice Act, a piece of legislation that has a mirrored version in the U.S. Senate that goes by the same name, first introduced by New Jersey Senator Cory Booker. The bill would lift the federal prohibition on marijuana and allow states the full freedom to set their own laws around cannabis. This would have enormous, long-ranging positive impacts for the industry in the realms of everything from banking and insurance to healthcare and education. Swing over to Bruce Barcott's piece on Leafly for the full read on this one. We'll report back as things evolve. Jumping up north to Canada, we have Canopy Growth Corporation again elevating the game on what it means to raise big marijuana money in their country, with the announcement of a plan to sell off $175 million Canadian in shares via a group of underwriters led by GMP Securities and BMO Capital Markets. In a month filled with announced $100 million raises by other licensed Canadian medical marijuana companies, this one stands out. The deal is expected to close early next month, with Canopy to use the proceeds to expand and further fund their operations. Click over to New Cannabis Ventures for all the numbers and details. Our final top story of the day is a good reminder of just how strong a position legal cannabis is in compared to even just 5 years ago, with Colorado Public Radio interviewing their state's Attorney General Cynthia Kaufman, a Republican who was originally opposed to the idea of legalization, but who is now saying that it's too late to turn the dial back. In referring to the idea of making marijuana illegal again, Attorney General Kaufman said, quote, "We can't stop. We have folks who have invested hundreds of millions of dollars in legitimate businesses depending on the Colorado state laws to protect them as they make that investment. And it's my job as the state attorney general to defend the will of the people, to keep this a safe practice, and to make sure that we go forward within the laws of the state of Colorado," unquote. Yet another good story worthy of a click. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz it in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Ease, California's top one-stop website for marijuana delivery. You know that Ease.com is California's best cannabis delivery company, but did you also know that they are also one of the smartest companies in the industry when it comes to data and analytics? They see a lot of delivery data flow through their system every day, which they first aggregate and anonymize before turning into information and wisdom with the help of their smart analytical team. For a perfect example of their work, open up ease.com/blog and click on their 2017 State of Cannabis Data Report, which has a ton of useful information and wisdom about California's legal marijuana markets gleaned from their daily delivery flow. Even if you're not involved in the California market, this is super valuable stuff in any state or province. Once again, you can find their 2017 State of Cannabis Data Report over at ease.com/blog, with ease spelled E-A-Z-E. All right, time for the blitz. Regular listeners should remember that one of the main issues causing friction in the startup of Maryland's medical marijuana program has been the fact that race was not factored into the process of handing out business licenses for medical marijuana cultivators, dispensers, and processors, even though the legislation creating the medical cannabis program called for it to be. This led to disproportionately white license holders and to a running battle by various state lawmakers, industry players, and activists to increase the racial diversity of the industry. Yesterday, Maryland Governor Larry Hogan released the findings of a consultant tasked with studying the racial disparities in the state's medical marijuana industry. That report said there is ample evidence concluding that minorities face disparities in legal medical cannabis. This is an important finding because it will provide the state government with legal backing to formally consider race in the process of giving out marijuana business licenses. As I say with nearly every Maryland headline, this is a deep story with lots of moving parts, so I'd click over to the Baltimore Sun for all the details. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. 2 of Rhode Island's 3 licensed medical marijuana dispensaries are back in the business of accepting debit cards from patients after being knocked into cash-only sales by the rescinding of the Cole memo, which moved a skittish Massachusetts-based payment processor to dump 2 of Rhode Island's medical dispensaries as customers. The Providence Journal is reporting that the 2 dispensaries have found an alternative financial services provider. Colorado's Gazette newspaper has a good piece up about U.S. Congressional Representative Doug Lamborn, a Republican from conservative-leaning Colorado Springs, who is the only member of his state's congressional delegation who is siding with prohibitionist U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions when it comes to marijuana. Congressman Lamborn said in a statement, quote, "The social costs of legalizing marijuana in Colorado have been steep, and the negative effects on children are particularly concerning," unquote. He went on to cite a few cherry-picked and discredited stats about cannabis use by kids and drug cartels and something or other. Marijuana Business Daily has an interesting article up about a medical marijuana company based in Canada who raised just over $4 million US in funding via crowdsourced investment with the blessing of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. TrueLeaf Medicine sold 8.9 million shares to more than 600 individual investors on the Canadian Securities Exchange and on U.S. over-the-counter markets at the end of last year. The U.S. part of the deal was done under the structure of Regulation A+, a 2015 rule opening up how entrepreneurs and companies can raise money from non-accredited investors. Given the dearth of funding mechanisms available to legal marijuana, this is something worth knowing about. Our next 2 stories are on the same theme, with roadside drug testing being worked on in different phases in states all over the country and in provinces throughout Canada. Leading up today's thematic duo is a story out of Michigan about their roadside drug testing pilot program being run in a handful of counties by police specially trained to do so. During a public meeting held by a Michigan Sheriff's Department to talk about their 1-year pilot program, a police spokesperson said that police officers would not be targeting medical marijuana patients and that their testing would not be done in a random way, rather only in cases where officers thought motorists displayed signs of intoxication. Vermont is the other state in the headlines today working through the issues of testing drivers for marijuana intoxication, with a state commission tasked with studying the legalization of marijuana, recommending that police use saliva tests on drivers suspected of operating under the influence of cannabis. This is a long-running and complicated issue made all the more complex by the fact that there is no current scientifically valid way of quantifying if someone's too high to drive. A fact that Vermont's commission seemed to admit with the statement, quote, "The admissibility in court of the results of saliva/oral fluid testing will be for the trial courts and ultimately the Vermont Supreme Court to decide," unquote. And finally for today, marijuana investment company iAnthus Capital just announced the acquisition of a Florida-based licensed medical marijuana company. iAnthus Capital, which is headquartered in New York with industry holdings all over the country, paid a total of $48 million in stock and cash for Grow Healthy, one of the state's 13 licensed medical marijuana providers and dispensers. That $48 million was split between $17.5 million in cash and the remaining balance in company stock. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. In the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. What's a pirate's favorite letter? You might think it'd be R or I, but a pirate's first love will always be the C. Thanks to our sponsor, Ease, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in, starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.